live in Times Square. This is GMA.
And family feuds over the election. No joke here. Millions of people are sharing how they feel and who they're voting for online, how to cope and stay on speaking terms. One of our young staffers brought this story and said we should
and
do
it's
it.
happening all over the place.
Yep. All right.
On the presidential race and how it's playing out online. We've all seen the tension reflected in our own Facebook feeds. Friends, relatives, even couples divided. And that anger could spill over into real life. One thing, though, we can all agree on, this election is getting personal.
I think she should be ashamed of herself.
He lives in an alternative reality.
The increasingly negative tone of the presidential election isn't just playing out in the political arena, but also among family and friends.
My dad and I would basically get into huge rants.
So far this year, on Facebook alone, over 100 million people have been sharing their thoughts about the campaign, frequently fueling animosity online.
I almost have no filter. That's my problem.
Which is exactly what's happened between 25-year-old Democrat Tiana and her Republican parents.
I tend to get really upset and really, I think, sad more than anything. I really, at this point, couldn't disagree anymore with my parents.
You can't help it when things are hurtful. I've made her cry before, but by saying different things.
Their family relationship getting increasingly rocky after both sides refused to dial down their political positions on social media, saying things like, "You disgust me, and I expected better." Just a few examples of the comments that upset and enraged both sides.
I warned him several times, and eventually I blocked him, and he got really upset and really angry.
Several times she's blocked me, you know, after we patch, make things up, and I promised not to post on her side again. But we do a little bit of finger pointing, because I always say she posts on mine first. And once you post on mine, you're fair game.
It's not surprising that families and friends are getting into feuds on social media. A lot of conversations that used to happen, say, around the dinner table are now being moved to online. People feel more comfortable talking online.
To save their family, they've chosen to work through their differences, so they're still on speaking terms. And they've decided to no longer talk about the elephant or donkey in the room.
When push comes to shove, we're still family.
All right, so for more now, psychologist Elizabeth Lombardo is joining us. And Elizabeth, first, welcome. Why do you think, in your professional opinion, so many are turning to social media to rant about this election?
Yeah, so there's a lot of stress right now, right? The candidates themselves are attacking each other, their character, as opposed to the policies. That increases our stress as we watch that. We're also feeling more powerless. There's a study that just came out of Chapman University that found that the #1 fear in the U.S. is a corrupt government. So we're feeling powerless. To try to address our stress, to try to have more control, people are going to social media. And they're exhibiting what I call conditional self-worth. Conditional self-worth means I believe in myself if. I believe in myself if I'm better than you, so I'm going to put you down. I believe in myself if you agree with me. People are posting things on social media to try to feel better about themselves, to try to address their stress, and to get more control.
Do you also think it's easier to type than to talk?
It's easier to type than to talk, and you say different things when you're typing, when you're not looking at someone face to face, than you ever would if you were looking at them. Definitely.
I agree with that. I feel like there's that anonymity that allows you to be bolder.
Yes.
And sometimes meaner.
Yes.
So what do you do if you're on the receiving end of this kind of rant?
Yeah, so the first thing to do is to ask yourself, you know, what's my motivation? What is my motivation here? If someone is attacking you, simply ignore it. Don't engage with them.
And don't engage at all. But if you have a point to make, and you feel this sort of anger bubbling up, take a breath.
Yeah. So, you know, ask yourself your motivation. Am I trying to put someone down, or am I trying to share what I'm passionate about? Okay? Be civil. If you wouldn't say it in person, don't say it online. This is there forever. Exactly. Yeah. And remember, you know, the more you engage with someone on Facebook, the higher priority they are on your page. Yeah. So don't engage. You can always unfriend. You can always mute on Twitter until after the election.
Hard when it's your dad, as we just
maybe
saw.
not block your dad. I don't know.
No, but this is real. We have a staffer who said that his family's literally broken apart over this, that it's very divisive. So I think you're right. Take a beat, be civil. Very, very simple, sage advice.
Yeah. And remember that these people who are ranting and raving, it's their own attempt to feel better about themselves. So if you take a step back, you can kind of see it from a psychological perspective.
Thanks for coming in today. Great advice.